Christmas dinner was supposed to be joyful, until my son said something that shattered me. "Dad, you're a burden." I froze. The words hit harder than any gift under the tree. 2 days later, everything changed, and what happened next, I never saw coming. If you want to follow our story, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a moment. The fork froze halfway to my mouth when my son said it. I mean, Dad's kind of a burden. The word landed on the table harder than the plates. Burden. Not angry. Not shouted. Just said plainly, like he'd finally named something everyone else already knew. Christmas lights hummed softly in the window. The roast was overcooked. The smell of pine cleaner still hung in the air. All the details burned themselves into me because my brain needed something, anything, other than the sound of my own kid's voice echoing in my chest. Evan didn't even look at me after he said it. He stared down at his mashed potatoes, pushing them around like they'd done him wrong. 17 years old. Taller than me now. Same dark hair. Same jawline as his mom. The same habit of speaking before thinking, except this time, it felt like he had thought about it. My sister cleared her throat. My dad shifted in his chair. Someone laughed nervously, the way people do when they don't know how to unbreak something. I smiled. Automatically. Like muscle memory. "Hey," I said lightly. "That's one way to say you want more gravy." No one laughed this time. Inside, though, something cracked, not loud, not dramatic. More like the sound of ice giving way under a boot you trusted. A burden. I thought about the second job I'd picked up after his mom died. The night shifts. The missed school events. The way I'd learned how to braid hair off a YouTube video because Evan needed it for a school play and wouldn't ask anyone else. I thought about the stack of overdue bills hidden in a drawer and the dent in my truck I'd never fixed because new tires mattered more. I wondered which part of my existence weighed on him the most. The silence stretched too long. Evan finally glanced up, saw my face, and hesitated, just a flicker of something unreadable crossing his eyes. Regret? Fear? Annoyance? "I didn't mean it like that," he muttered. "I just mean, you're always stressed. It's like everything revolves around you struggling." That one hurt worse. Because he wasn't wrong. Dinner ended early after that. Plates scraped. Hugs felt forced. Everyone avoided my eyes. Evan disappeared into his room without saying goodnight, his door closing with a soft click that somehow felt louder than a slam. I stayed at the table long after the house went quiet. The Christmas lights blinked on and off, steady and patient, like they were waiting for something. I told myself kids say stupid things. I told myself tomorrow would be normal. I told myself this was just a moment. But 2 days later, I would realize that moment was the warning. And I had completely missed it. I woke up the next morning to a quiet that felt wrong. Not peaceful. Not calm. Wrong, like when you realize the fridge has stopped humming and you don't know how long it's been dead. The house was still, wrapped in that weird post-Christmas haze where time feels loose and unfinished. Evan's door was open. That alone wasn't unusual. What stopped me was the bed, perfectly made. Too perfect. The hoodie he wore everywhere, the gray one with the frayed sleeve, was gone from the chair. His sneakers weren't by the door. Neither was his backpack. I stood there longer than I should have, trying to talk myself down. He's 17. He sleeps over at friends' houses. He goes places without checking in sometimes. This is normal. This is fine. But my chest didn't believe me. I checked my phone. No texts. No missed calls. I scrolled back through our last exchange from the night before, just a thumbs-up reaction to something meaningless I'd sent because I didn't know how to follow up after burden. I made coffee I didn't drink. I sat on the couch and replayed the dinner in my head, line by line, like if I rewound it enough times I'd find the exact second where I failed him. Or where he decided I was too much. Around noon, my sister called. "Hey," she said carefully. "Did Evan come by your place last night?" The air shifted. "No," I said. "Why?" A pause. I could hear her breathing. "He stopped by here late. Just for a minute. Asked if I thought you were okay." Okay. That word again. Everyone kept using it like it was a real thing. "What did you tell him?" I asked. "I told him you love him," she said. "That you're tired, not broken." Another pause. He didn't stay long. After we hung up, I walked into Evan's room again, this time really looking. The desk drawer was half open. His birth certificate was missing. So was his social security card, the one I'd stupidly shown him where I kept, just in case. My stomach dropped. This wasn't a sleepover. This was a decision. I sat on his bed and pressed my palms into the blanket, trying to ground myself. My mind raced ahead to all the places he could go, all the ways this could spiral. I thought about the things I hadn't said. The nights I chose exhaustion over conversation. The way I'd let my own survival become the center of our lives. By the time my phone buzzed that evening, my hands were shaking. It was a text from an unknown number. I'm safe. Don't come looking for me. I just need space. No signature. No explanation. Just distance, typed clean and final. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying. Whatever Evan was running from, he thought it was me. I didn't respond to the text right away. Not because I didn't want to, but because I was afraid of saying the wrong thing and locking the door even tighter. I stared at the screen, the words "I'm safe" looping in my head like they were supposed to calm me down. They didn't. They felt rehearsed. Like something you say when you don't want questions. By nightfall, the house felt hollow. Not empty, hollow. Like the walls were still expecting him to come back and hadn't caught up yet. I walked past his room over and over, muscle memory pulling me there, like I needed proof he had existed. I sat at the kitchen table and finally typed back. I'm not angry. I just need to know where you are. 3 dots appeared. Then disappeared. Minutes passed. Then more. I checked the locks. I checked the windows. I checked my phone again like it might change its mind and give me something new. Nothing. Around midnight, I poured myself a drink I didn't want. I told myself it was just to take the edge off, but really, I needed something to slow the thoughts. They kept crashing into each other. What if he's scared? What if he's with the wrong people? What if he meant what he said at dinner and this is him choosing relief? That one hurt the most. Sometime after 1 a.m., my phone buzzed again. I'm with someone I trust. Please don't call the police. That sentence sat heavy. He knew me well enough to know I was already thinking about it. I imagined him somewhere warm, somewhere calm, explaining me to someone else. He worries too much. He doesn't mean to, but everything feels heavy around him. I leaned back in my chair and stared at the ceiling, remembering a flash from years ago, Evan at 8 years old, sitting on the bathroom floor while I threw up from exhaustion and stress. He'd brought me water without asking. He'd patted my back and told me, "It's okay, Dad. I got you." When did that become my job to fix? The next day dragged. I went to work but barely heard anything anyone said. My phone stayed face up on the desk like a lifeline. Every buzz, email, spam, calendar reminder, made my heart jump and fall in the same second. Late afternoon, my sister texted again. "I think I know where he is. But he made me promise not to tell you." I didn't answer right away. Not because I didn't care, but because something about that promise scared me more than not knowing. If Evan was asking people to choose between us, that meant he felt cornered. Or worse, responsible. I finally typed back. "Is he okay?" Her reply came fast. "Yes. But he's carrying something. And I don't think it's just about Christmas." I stared at that message until the words blurred. Because deep down, I knew she was right. That dinner wasn't the cause. It was the crack. And whatever was coming next was already in motion. Sleep stopped working after that. Not the kind where you toss and turn, just the kind where your body gives up trying. I lay there staring at the dark, replaying moments I used to think were small. Times I snapped when I shouldn't have. Times I chose silence because I didn't have the energy for one more conversation. At the time, they felt like survival. Now they felt like evidence. By morning, I made a decision that scared me more than waiting. I texted Evan again. "I hear you. I won't push. But I need you to hear this once. If I'm heavy, it's not because of you. It's because losing your mom broke something in me I never learned how to fix." I stared at the message before sending it, wondering if it was too much. Or too late. He didn't respond. Instead, my phone rang. It was my dad. "You good?" he asked. Straight to the point. He's always been like that, no fluff, no soft landings. "I don't know," I said honestly. He sighed. "Your kid didn't leave because he hates you." I didn't say. "I know you didn't. But I know that look. You wear it when you think you've failed." I closed my eyes. My dad wasn't big on emotional speeches, but when Evan was born, he'd pulled me aside and said something I'd never forgotten: "Your job isn't to be strong all the time. It's to show him what strength looks like when you're not." I hadn't done that. Not really. I'd shown him grit. Endurance. Teeth-clenched perseverance. But not softness. Not rest. Not how to ask for help without shame. That afternoon, I went into Evan's room and opened the closet. His jacket was gone. His favorite old baseball cap too, the one from a team he never even played on, just like the logo. But tucked behind a stack of notebooks, I found something that didn't belong there. An envelope. My name was written on it. Carefully. Like he'd practiced. My hands shook when I opened it. Inside was a folded piece of paper and a photo of the three of us, me, Evan, and his mom, taken years ago at a winter fair. We were all smiling, caught mid-laugh. I didn't remember that moment feeling so light. The note was short. "I don't want to hate you. I just don't know how to be me when you're always hurting." That was it. No anger. No blame. Just exhaustion. I sat on the floor and let the quiet swallow me, realizing something painful and clear: Evan hadn't left to escape me. He left to stop carrying me. And 2 days after Christmas dinner, the truth finally settled in. If I wanted my son back, not just in the house, but in my life, I couldn't just wait. I had to change something. Even if I didn't know how yet. The hardest part wasn't deciding to change. It was admitting I didn't know what that actually looked like. I'd spent years believing that holding everything together was the same as doing it right. Pay the bills. Show up. Don't fall apart. That was the deal I made with myself after his mom died. If I could just keep moving, Evan wouldn't have to worry. Somehow, he ended up worrying anyway. I took the day off work and drove without a plan. No music. Just the sound of tires on pavement and my own thoughts catching up to me. I ended up parked outside a small counseling office I'd passed 100 times and never noticed. The sign was plain. No promises. No inspirational quotes. I sat there for a long minute, hands on the steering wheel, arguing with myself like a stranger. This is overreacting. You're fine. This is what he meant by burden. I went in anyway. The woman at the desk didn't look surprised to see a grown man who looked like he hadn't slept in days. She just handed me a clipboard and said, "Take your time." That almost broke me. I didn't spill everything in that first session. I barely scratched the surface. But I said the words out loud: "My son thinks my pain is his responsibility." And once they were in the room, they couldn't crawl back inside me. When I got home, there was a text waiting. "Did you mean what you said this morning?" I sat on the couch before answering. "Yes. All of it. 3 dots. Gone. 3 dots again. I don't want to come back if nothing changes." That one hit hard, but it was fair. "I don't want that either," I typed. "I started getting help today. Not for you. For me. But I hope it helps us too." Minutes passed. Then, "Okay. Just that. One word." But it felt like a door cracking open. That evening, my sister called again. "He's with a friend's family," she said. "They're solid people. He's safe." "Does he seem okay?" "He seems tired," she said. "Relieved, maybe. But still scared." I understood that. Change is a promise before it's proof. That night, I cleaned the house, not obsessively, not like I was trying to earn something. Just enough to make it feel lighter. I boxed up old bills I'd been avoiding. Threw out things that didn't matter anymore. I even took down some of the Christmas decorations, though part of me wanted to leave them up like proof that we'd been together once. Before bed, I sent Evan one last message. "You don't have to take care of me anymore. I'm learning how to do that myself." He didn't reply. But my phone didn't feel heavy in my hand for the first time in days. I didn't know then that 2 days later, something would happen that would test that promise, harder than anything before. And if I handled it wrong, I might lose him for good. The call came the next afternoon, right when I was folding laundry Evan hadn't worn in days. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. My brain was already tired of bracing for bad news. But something in my gut twisted the second the phone buzzed, like it recognized the moment before I did. "Is this Evan's father?" a woman asked. "Yes," I said, already standing. "This is Officer Ramirez with the county police." The room felt suddenly smaller. She spoke calmly, professionally. Too calmly. Evan hadn't been arrested. He hadn't been hurt. But his name had come up in something he wasn't supposed to be near: wrong place, wrong time. There'd been a report. A question. A formality. "He's not in trouble," she repeated. "But we need you to come down." I drove faster than I should have. Every red light felt personal. My hands gripped the wheel so hard my knuckles ached. All I could think was, don't let this undo everything. At the station, Evan sat in a chair by the wall, hoodie pulled low, leg bouncing. He looked smaller there. Younger. Not like the kid who'd called me a burden, just a scared teenager pretending not to be. When he saw me, his eyes flicked up, then away. "Hey," I said quietly. He nodded once. The officer explained, there'd been a group of older kids messing around behind a closed store. Nothing violent. Just stupid. Evan had been with a friend. Someone had called it in. Names were taken. Parents notified. That was it. It should have been easy. A lecture. A warning. A drive home in silence. But standing there, I realized this was the moment. The one Evan would remember. The one that would confirm whether my words about change meant anything, or were just another thing he had to carry. In the car, I didn't yell. I didn't sigh. I didn't ask, "What were you thinking?" like I'd practiced in my head. Instead, I said, "Were you scared?" He swallowed. "Yeah. Me too," I admitted. "When they called." He looked at me then. Really looked. Like he was searching for something. "I didn't want you to think I was messing up your life more," he said quietly. That sentence wrecked me. Evan, I said, pulling over without thinking. You don't mess up my life. You are my life. He stared out the window, jaw tight. You're not responsible for fixing me, I continued. And you don't have to disappear to protect me. I'm the adult. I should have made that clearer a long time ago. Silence stretched between us. Not heavy. Careful. I don't know how to come back yet, he said. That's okay, I said. We'll figure it out together. At your pace. When I dropped him back at the house he was staying at, he paused before getting out. You didn't freak out, he said. I managed a small smile. I wanted to. But I'm learning. He nodded, then closed the door. As I drove away, my phone buzzed. A text from Evan. Thank you for not making it worse. I didn't know it then, but what happened next would force both of us to find out how real this change actually was. The house didn't feel empty anymore. It felt like it was holding its breath. I noticed it in small ways, the way I still set 2 mugs out in the morning before catching myself. The way I listened for footsteps that never came. But something had shifted. The panic had softened into something more dangerous, hope. 2 days passed without incident. Evan texted once a day. Short check-ins. No emojis. No warmth. But no distance either. Then, late on the 3rd night, I heard the knock. Not loud. Not urgent. Just 3 soft taps, like the person on the other side wasn't sure they were welcome. I opened the door and there he was. Same hoodie. Same tired eyes. But his shoulders were slumped in a way I'd never seen before, like he'd finally put something down and didn't know what to do without it. Hey, he said. Hey, I replied. Neither of us moved. I just needed some stuff, he said. Didn't want to stay. That's okay, I said. Come in. He hesitated, then stepped inside. The house seemed to recognize him instantly, creaked the same way, settled into itself. As he gathered clothes from his room, I stayed in the doorway, giving space. He moved slowly, deliberately, like he was afraid of doing something wrong. I told them I might come back soon, he said, not looking at me. Okay. I didn't promise. That's okay too. He finally turned. Why are you being like this? I knew what he meant. I'm trying not to make this about my fear, I said. I've done that before. He studied me, skeptical but curious. You seem different, he said. I am, I replied. And I know you don't trust that yet. He sat on the edge of the bed, rubbing his hands together. I felt lighter when I left, he admitted. Then I felt guilty for feeling that. That one landed hard. I don't want you to feel lighter without me, I said carefully. I want you to feel lighter with me. He laughed once, dry. That sounds like something a therapist would say. I smiled. Yeah. Turns out they're onto something. We sat in silence for a while. Not awkward. Just honest. Then he asked the question I'd been dreading. What if you can't actually change? I didn't rush it. Then I'll own that, I said. But I won't pretend I'm okay just to keep you close. I'd rather be real and risk losing you than fake it and make you carry me again. His eyes glossed over, just a little. He blinked hard. I don't want to leave forever, he said. I know. He stood, slung his backpack over his shoulder. I'm staying there one more night, he said. I just needed to see if this felt the same. And? I asked. He paused at the door. It doesn't, he said. That scares me. After he left, I leaned against the door and exhaled, realizing something terrifying and hopeful at the same time. Change doesn't feel safe at first. And tomorrow? I'd be tested in a way I never expected. The test came faster than I was ready for. The next morning, my boss called me into his office. No warning. No small talk. Just that tight smile people use when they already know how the conversation is going to end. Company's restructuring, he said. Nothing personal. I nodded like I understood, like the floor hadn't just dropped out from under me. By noon, I was carrying a box of my things to the truck. 15 years at that place. Gone in 10 minutes. The old version of me would have swallowed it, driven home, and let the weight settle into my bones without saying a word. This time, my first instinct wasn't to hide. It was to tell Evan. I sat in the truck for a long moment, hands on the steering wheel, heart pounding. I could already hear the old script in my head, here we go again. Dad's falling apart. I have to be careful. I didn't want to hand him that. So I called my therapist instead. She listened. Didn't rush me. Didn't try to fix it. What do you need right now? She asked. To not make this his problem, I said. Then don't, she replied. Make it yours. Get support. Let him be the kid. When I got home, Evan texted. I'm thinking about coming back tonight. I stared at the screen, the job loss buzzing in my chest like a live wire. I'd like that, I typed. Then paused. Then added, I had a rough day. But I'm okay. We can talk when you're ready. That sentence felt like walking a tightrope without a net. He showed up after dinner. Backpack by his feet. Guard up. Watching me like he was waiting for the other shoe to drop. You okay? He asked. I will be, I said. I lost my job today. There it was. Clean. Simple. No drama. His face shifted, concern rising fast, but I held up a hand. I've got a plan, I said. I'm not asking you to fix anything. I just didn't want to hide it from you. He sat down slowly. That would have crushed me before, he admitted. Knowing and pretending not to. I know, I said. I'm sorry. We ordered cheap takeout and ate on the couch. The TV was on, but neither of us watched. It felt strange, being honest without spiraling. Later, he stood and looked around. I think I want to stay, he said. At least tonight. My chest tightened. Okay. As he headed to his room, he stopped. You handled that different, he said. I nodded. Still learning. He smiled. Not big. But real. After he went to bed, I sat alone, letting the weight of the day sink in. No job. Uncertain future. A fragile truce with my son. And yet, the house felt warmer than it had in weeks. What I didn't know was that the next conversation we'd have would dig up something neither of us had ever said out loud. And once it was said, there'd be no going back. I woke early the next morning to the sound of Evan moving around his room. Not the usual shuffle, but deliberate, careful. I didn't go in. I just listened. There was a weight in the quiet, the kind that comes right before something fragile cracks or heals. He came out after breakfast, hoodie zipped up, eyes wary. He didn't sit. He just leaned against the counter, arms crossed. That's when I realized, this wasn't about me anymore. Not really. This was about him. About what he'd been holding inside for weeks, months, maybe even years. I've been thinking, he said finally. About what I said at Christmas. I nodded, bracing for the sting. I didn't mean all of it, he continued. Some of it, yeah? I meant. You carry a lot. But, his voice caught. I wasn't just talking about you. I was talking about me too. I tilted my head. Wait. What did he mean? I feel like I've been a burden too, he said, voice low. Like I make everything harder for you. Like you've got this weight, and I keep adding to it without knowing how to take it off. I didn't know how to respond. Part of me wanted to tell him it wasn't true, that he could never be a burden. But another part, the part that had been listening to him in silence all this time, knew he needed to say it, not be told otherwise. You're not a burden, I said finally, softly. But, I get it. I've made it seem like you are sometimes. Because I've been carrying my own stuff badly. And I know that's scary for you. He swallowed, eyes fixed somewhere between the floor and the sink. I just wanted to feel like I could help, not hurt. And when I said that, it was like I was trying to give myself permission to run away without guilt. And there it was. The truth we'd both been circling. Running away, hiding, protecting each other by staying apart. All while building walls that neither of us had the courage to climb down. I stepped closer. You don't have to run. You don't have to protect me. You just need to be you. That's enough for both of us. For a long moment, he didn't respond. Then he leaned forward slightly, almost a bow, almost a surrender. I think I want to try. With you. To stay. I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. Me too, I said. One day at a time. No rushing. No pretending. He let out a small, shaky laugh. Feels weird. Feels lighter. I smiled back, feeling the same. Lighter, yes. But also fragile. Because I knew healing wasn't a single moment. It was 1,000 small choices stacked together, and one wrong move could crumble it all. And that was when my phone buzzed. Not a text. Not a call. A notification. A reminder I had forgotten I set weeks ago, a hospital appointment for my own checkup. I opened it and froze. It wasn't about me, but it was going to change everything. The hospital appointment was supposed to be routine. Blood work. A follow-up from a minor issue I'd ignored for months. But as I sat in the waiting room, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, I realized something. This wasn't just about me. Every choice I'd made, every silent night, every moment I'd hidden my stress, every time Evan had felt like he had to carry me, it all led here. The nurse called my name. I followed, chest tight, stomach twisting. When the doctor walked in, I noticed the lines under his eyes, the same ones I'd seen in mine lately. People who worry too much about holding everything together. Your test results came back, he said, calm but firm. There's something we need to discuss. My heart sank. I braced myself for words like chronic, serious, or worse. It's manageable, he said after a beat, reading my thoughts. But it's serious enough that you need to make changes, lifestyle, stress management, and support. If not, it could get worse, fast. I nodded slowly, trying to swallow the lump in my throat. Manageable. Serious. Enough to shake me, but not enough to break me. I left the hospital with a folder of instructions, a list of medications, and a heart heavier than I expected. The cold January wind hit me as I walked to the truck. My hands shook, not just from the chill, but from the realization, this wasn't just about Evan or me anymore. This was about the life we were trying to rebuild together, fragile and fragile in equal measure. I drove home, rehearsing what I would say. Not to Evan, he didn't need to carry this, but to myself. To accept that I couldn't fix everything by myself. That some weight needed to be shared, sometimes with professionals, sometimes with friends, sometimes just with a person brave enough to say, I need help. When I pulled into the driveway, the lights in Evan's room were on. He was sitting at the desk, writing something, his backpack still at his feet. He looked up, and for a second, I saw the full weight of the past week flash across his face: fear, relief, exhaustion, hope. Hey, I said softly. Hey, he replied. I took a deep breath. I went to the doctor today. He froze, brow furrowed. Everything okay? Manageable, I said. But, it made me realize something important. He tilted his head. I can't keep asking you to carry me while I pretend I'm fine. Not anymore. And I want to do better. For me. For us. He didn't say anything at first. Just watched me. Then he finally said, I don't want to lose you. Not again. Not to everything. I know, I whispered. And you won't. We're going to do this together. Day by day. Mistakes, slips, everything, but together. For the first time in weeks, I felt the house settle. Not perfect. Not resolved. But real. Safe. And the kind of fragile that could grow stronger if we didn't turn away. That night, as I tucked Evan in, he whispered, thanks for letting me stay. I kissed his forehead. Thank you for coming back. Outside, the January wind rattled the windows. The world hadn't changed. Life would still throw things at us. But inside, in that small room, 2 days of pain, fear, and silence had transformed into the beginning of something new. And for the first time, I didn't feel like a burden.